black screen gets me every time, guys. Bear with me. Sorry. I don't know. I just like letting it linger up there longer. Welcome to Sunday night, not our regular Horse Center show, but a special mental health roundtable talk with my co-host Swiss Army Sean and some really talented guests. Tonight we have Willie Martinez, Aubrey Green, and Tyler Connor. Chantel Sutherland's out. She wasn't able to join us. She had something come up last minute, but it's all good. We are here and we're ready to get started. So tonight we are here late night to talk about something that is not talked about enough, especially not alone just in America, but in this industry, right? Mental health. And I think we've lost some special people to us, and we've also seen a lot of our peers on the racetrack struggle, and I think it's time that we start speaking out about that and start to make a change or let people know it's okay to check on others. So with that being said, Aubrey, let's start with you. Okay.
Okay.
Tell us a bit about maybe a time that you struggled with mental health at any time in your career, what you did or maybe are continuing to do to keep yourself mentally sound in this industry.
Well, this is a really up and down business, and so I've had a couple different times that I've struggled with some depression in this industry, mainly because I feel like as jockeys, where our success and our identity, our role as a jockey is really tied to our identities, and when we're not doing as well as we'd like to do, when we're not winning as much as we want to, and when we make mistakes or we fail, we start to get down on ourselves. And I've gone through two pretty bad periods of struggling with depression. One was when I was a brand new bug rider back in 2016, and I just felt like I couldn't get a hold of how to ride a proper race. But I came into the business really green, so it was a struggle. And then most recently, actually, was this last summer. I went to Delaware. I left Louisiana, which is where I've had a lot of success here, a lot of good business. I won a lot of races, and I went to Delaware with my fiance Angel, thinking I would have a really good meet because I had gone the prior year and I did pretty well. So I expected the second year to be better. And it was a real struggle. I couldn't get horses in the right races, and so I would run second, but I would be getting beat 5 or 6 lengths every single time, and I'd start questioning myself and wondering, what am I doing wrong? And a lot of times it's simply not our fault. We can ride a perfect race and not win the race, and it happens way more than it goes the other way.
And you carry that home, right? You carry those feelings home. I think there's a misconception of, oh, she's a jockey, they don't think that you carry that frustration home with you and then have to process that on your own.
So I know that I'm not alone in jockeys that go home and stew over their races all night into the next day, and sometimes it can affect your rides the next day, and it can affect your mindset. And when you get into that kind of a slump, you lose so much confidence in yourself, and it really affects the way that you ride. So it can be really hard to get out of that. And a lot of what I've been doing and what I do is I'm a poet. I write poetry, and so I use words and put it on paper to get my feelings out, and that has been a really good therapy for me. Last summer, I actually got on betterhealth.com and started talking to a therapist a little bit, just to help me get my mindset right and help me, regain my self-confidence and refocus on my goals and what I was going after. And that did help. So I know one thing that I would like to recommend, and that I think that all of the jockeys or most of the jockeys would be on board with, is it would be really great if we could see either the Jockeys Guild. I would just say the Jockeys Guild. It would be nice if they would find a way to get these tracks to provide some kind of therapy for jockeys, because it's a really tough business and it's hard on us mentally. And
Absolutely.
I have a friend, I had a friend several years when I was an apprentice. She told me when I was in that little slump, she said, this is a game of peaks and valleys, and your valleys are much, much greater than the peaks. So you need to enjoy the peaks while you're there and be able to withstand the valleys.
Yes, it's definitely a business that totally ebbs and flows, and I just want to totally support on you on the therapy journey. I'm somebody, myself that is I've been in and out of therapy since I was 15, and I think talk therapy is amazing, and it's something that should not be shunned. I mean, it's okay to go talk to somebody different, right, outside of your circle that can maybe just listen sometimes. So, thank you for sharing that with us. That's amazing. Willie, I'm going to kick it off to you. You're in a unique situation right now. It kind of gives us a great perspective on the jockey that's down, right? You've been out with injury. So tell us a little bit about, and it's not your first time, I'm sure, over the years. So tell us a little bit about what you do to not go in that low valley when you have to sit back and watch everybody do what you love to do.
I mean, well, after so many years of writing, uh, I always say if it doesn't happens to you, you haven't been doing it long enough. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen for any human being, especially athletes, that we have to get on these horses and we rely on our mental, physical strength all together. And when you're missing one or the other, it's tough. And recently, what we have seen here with the younger riders and this new generation, um, listen, we all been sucked in this social media world too, and it's taking a toll on a lot of people, on a lot of us. Because I can tell you, and it's hard not to bring it home, because you are bringing it home, and then you back out there dealing with the struggles of life, work, personal life, whatever it is. But I have been at the very top. I know what it's like to look down and look up again, and had done it many times. And
Was there ever a time that you can remember specifically in your career that was a little harder for you to pick yourself up? I mean, now you have all these wonderful things to live for, right? You've got the kids and you've got your beautiful family. But was there a time when you were just at a low and you didn't know
yeah,
how to get back up?
yeah. Throughout the '90s, I was you know living jockey in Kentucky, and I had a great agent, and success. It was not the word. I mean, like, I came to a sudden success, like I was on top of the world. I couldn't do anything wrong. And when you that young, you think sometimes that you're invincible. For some reason, you feel like it's not gonna stop. And around 2000, 2001, I hit rock bottom as far as business. Like, I couldn't look anywhere. I couldn't have an agent that wanted to work for me. And when people see you sometimes at a certain level, and then you listen, I'm back here, but I started here too. I'm okay with it, but people look at you differently. And
Right.
my mom would always be my biggest, you know, force behind me. She would always tell me, when you look around, most of the time it's not just you, just people change around you. And it takes you a while to register all these, who are your friends, who are not. And then it's a mental thing. I never really, not that I didn't believe, I never really want to uh, accept that depression is such a thing that you just have to take it and deal with it. Nah, I didn't want to hear about that. But I have family members close to me and friends that deal with it all throughout their life. And when it finally hit me, I was like, this is real. This is a real thing. I mean, I couldn't find this strength. I've always been a strong-minded person. Like, I'm a go-getter. Get me back on a horse. I don't need therapy. That's my therapy. I get going, and that's that. That's what we do. But it did hit hard, and I found myself at the very bottom. I found myself asking questions to God. Like, why me? There was times like, and it really takes a toll. It took a toll on me, and I didn't really knew if I was gonna pull myself out of it. but I did, and it happened again and again, and I did it again. So it's sad what we have been seeing lately with these young riders, man. It really is heartbreaking. Every Wishman, he was in my corner all summer, most of the summer, at Prescott, and his character, I could never tell you that this kid was going through the struggles that he must have been going. But I knew that as far as physically helped, because he had to cut weight a lot, and I noticed the difference. I tried to help him and all that, but I could never tell what he was going through. You can never tell what.
And you usually can't, right? You usually can't. And I think that's what gives people, I don't want to say free reign, but it definitely makes it easier for people to not be kind, because we humans don't recognize that, hey, you know, that girl over there or that guy, you know, he has it all together. But a lot of times it's just a mask. It's because they have to have it all together in that moment. So
exactly, he was doing great. He was winning races. He was just he was like the hottest rider this summer. It was himself. He was just winning all kinds of races at a higher percentage and riding great. But you just can never tell. Is that good enough? You know?
Right. You never know. Well, that, you know, we send our prayers once to Avery's family, and we'll do that again tonight. Our deepest condolences there, because that was a tragic life. Definitely lost way too early.
We're gonna miss him.
So I'm gonna kick off to Tyler Connor. Tyler, welcome. How are you tonight? Thanks for being here.
Yeah, thank you. I'm good.
I want to pick off a little bit of what Willie said about social media. You're younger coming in, and you know, you've been pretty successful in the industry already, but you've also probably been a little bit more accessible to social media. And tell us a little bit about that, how that plays. When you're hot, it's great, right? You're a superstar. Everybody's posting your wins. And what happens when you're not hot? And how does that affect you mentally? And have you ever found yourself kind of staring at the phone going, you know, I can't take this?
Yeah, these guys are tough. And when you're hot, you don't get a whole lot of praise, honestly. I mean, the big guys do. Irad, all those, they get praise all the time. But you can be hot and, you know, have a bad beat or whatever. It could beat a nose and on 3 to 5 shot, and people want to kill you. I get way more hate on social media than I get praise most of the time, no matter how good I'm doing or how bad I'm doing. It's never, like kind of like Willie said, it's never good enough. The bettors are pretty ruthless. And 90% of the time, it's never, they don't come at you with facts. They just kind of hate and, you know, never give you a reason of why you lost, or, you know, most of the time, they don't have any real reason to be mad at you. They just lost their money. I don't think I take it to heart too much. I kind of go back at them usually if I can, to try to get something out of them or make them regret, you know, what they say. So I'm my own hardest critic, I think. Kind of like Aubrey said earlier, like I take it home, and if I, you know, rode a race that I thought I rode correctly and get beat, you always think what if or what you could have done better. But yeah, the social media thing is brutal. Like I said, I get it all the time, especially riding a national. Nobody really likes that place too much. They think we all suck or we cheat or whatever, and it's the complete opposite of that. But yeah, it's really not. I wouldn't say it's tough mentally on me, but it can be because they are brutal.
You can see how it would be. It can be tough on maybe kids who aren't.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Aren't willing to fire back and really absorb kind of what's coming in. It's really nasty stuff on social media. So
no, yeah, I've gotten a lot, and I shouldn't go back at them probably as much as I do. But I kind of want to make them regret it a little bit and maybe get something out of them. So
you're a human too. I mean, yes, we're all taught, or most of us are taught to rise above, but I think there's a point where you kind of have to stand up for yourself too. You know?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I try to handle it like with class a little bit. I don't try to get too nasty back, but I just want them to give me a reason why they hate me instead of just being mad they lost money, you know?
Yeah. We've got some comments coming in. Let's see what the fans are saying. Grandma Horse Racing, as an Iraq veteran, I would recommend tracks setting up support groups. Don't leave it to the industry. One thing they could do is sponsor families for jockeys who are traveling to the track. That's a good idea. And I think that's the start, is thinking outside of the box. Here we have one from Ross. Willie the best, great perspective. And let's see. Low says, hi, folks. Hello. Sean, How are you doing tonight?
So, I'm doing good. Glad these three were able to join us for such a sensitive topic and willing to talk about it. Let's talk about another big aspect of the sport. Some may deal with, some may not deal with it, but I'm sure you've seen people struggle with it, and that's the weight aspect of it. You guys want to talk about that? Willie,
Yeah,
you want to start
sure.
there? Whoever. Whoever's unmuted. Tyler's unmuted. Go ahead, Tyler.
Okay, all right. Yeah, weight is big. It's really tough for me. It's probably my own fault most of the time, but I enjoy eating very much so, especially now that I cut weight every day. But yeah, I lose 3, 4, 5 pounds every day probably. I don't feel normal if I don't lose weight. I feel like I ride better now if I'm, dehydrated and weak, but it's the life I live now, I guess. Cut weight almost every single day that I have ridden a race. So, yeah, that's probably the hardest part of the game, in my opinion. Besides that, and I guess the business aspect. But if you're
Tyler,
struggling and losing,
sorry to interrupt you, but can you elaborate a little bit for the people who are just tuning in and learning about cutting weight? That it's not just as easy as just, I'm losing 2 pounds and that's it. Can you go?
No, yeah. We use a sauna or like a hot tub whirlpool type thing. We have some tracks, dry or wet saunas. Sometimes I take Lasix, which is terrible, but when you get desperate, you got to do what you got to do sometimes. So yeah, just sweating it out really. Or we can throw a sweatsuit on and go run or bicycle a few miles. That doesn't always work for me very well, but yeah, there's anything to do to sweat pretty much is all we do to lose weight. We don't just it doesn't take days. It's we have 2 hours to do it usually, and then go ride a card, the whole card usually, sometimes or close to. But yeah, that is by far the hardest part of the game. I think it's the main reason I want to retire a lot of days.
And while we're on that subject, and when the other two answer too, why can't we add a few pounds? Go a little heavier.
I have no idea. California is pretty heavy, usually, and the horses don't know. I mean, a couple pounds here and there, they're never going to feel, in my opinion. They carry around 180, 200 pounds every morning anyways. So I don't see why we couldn't, make the national weight, this HISA stuff is sanctioning everything else. Why not, make the weights the same across the country too?
Why not make a lot of the standards for jockeys across the country too, right?
Yeah, they try to control everything else.
I want to get your opinion, Aubrey. Let me put you back here on the screen. As a female cutting weight, we know that cutting weight is hard as is, right? But I don't think the guys realize how extra hard it is for women. You're combating the hormones. You're combating just being a woman, all the extra things that come in with just natural evolution. So talk about your experience. Do you have to pull weight? Does it affect you mentally?
So this is not a subject for me. I fully respect and I feel for the guys that have to lose weight. I watch Angel struggle with it sometimes. He's doing really well now, but coming off of his last injury, he was struggling to get his weight down and it was really hard on him. I'm very fortunate. I don't have to cut weight. I sit around about 110 year round, no matter what. So I'm sorry, I can't touch on this subject for you guys.
Well, then you're blessed. So congratulations for that. At least you don't have that struggle on. So let me bring Willie in. Willie. Okay, I see you on TikTok working out and doing all the exercise things, which exercise is a great mental health tool too, right? So are you using that to get fit and also burn off steam mentally? And is that your way of do you have weight issues? Is that how you maintain your physical fitness?
I really, throughout my career, I have always been a lightweight rider. So in the last maybe 8, 7 years, every once in a while, if it's a horse that gets in light in the stake and all that, at Prescott, Tyler knows we have a lot of lightweight races that you have to do the best you can to make the weight. So every once in a while, I get in the box. I like to get in the whirlpool, but I've seen these guys do it day in and day out. I seen Tyler when he comes in to ride a Prescott. He's the first one there, and among other guys. So it's tough, and what they put their bodies through it is tough. I don't know how to cut weight. So what I do, I just try to stay fit, especially, at my age. We got 4 kids running around here. I burn calories every day. So I ride my bike. I like to go boxing. I like to stay active no matter what, whether I'm riding or not. But I give a lot of credit to these guys because some of them, their frame are not meant to be jockeys. But yeah, the passion and just because they want to do it so bad, and whether they have talent or not, they make it happen. They go through, literally put their bodies through hell to just chase their dreams, which is nothing wrong with that. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of people can judge from the outside and all that. Everybody has the right to chase their dreams and do what you got to do. This business is tough. Athletes like us, the jockeys, they don't cut weight for a fight for 6 months from now. They cut weight every day. I'm gonna say jockeys. For every single day they ride, they have to cut weight. They're not preparing for a championship fight for 4 or 5 months from now.
Right.
And it's tough, and that can take a mental toll. I can only imagine.
Yeah, and we have Grandma Horse Racing saying not everybody's made the same. Absolutely. Like Willie said, I've seen guys, and Aubrey, who just said it herself, she doesn't struggle with weight. I've seen guys that are 5'8", 5'9", 5'10", even taller, that they just want to do it, but they don't have the frame, and they struggle. Let's see. Ross says a jockey taking Lasix, that's dangerous. It is dangerous, and we're not here to promote it, but we're here to bring the reality of what has to happen, what some of these people go through to do what they're doing. We have a question. Is Chantel going to be on the show? She had to pull out last minute. She had a dinner with some owners. And let's see, we have a question. Why do bugs struggle after losing the bug so much?
I think that's probably a different show. I don't really think that has to.
That might be a little separate. We're talking about the struggles with mental health and touching on racing. But Willie, we'll ask. We'll go around the table here. One thing that you think could absolutely be brought into every jockey colony right now, that would be beneficial as far as mental health goes.
The question is for me.
Yeah, you start with you. We'll go around.
That could help the jockeys all around with
just help the mental health aspect of it. I mean, we have the chaplaincy, some racetracks lean on that, but I don't see a lot of people utilizing it as far as riders go sometimes. So what do you think could be brought to the room itself, for riders to have a safe space and not feel judged?
Oh, I was fixing to say the first thing you say. The chaplains around the racetrack, around the country and all that, they are a great tool, but they can only do so much, right? So when I'm gonna say we need professional help. But the first thing you need to do is crack the door and accept that you have a problem within yourself. And if you have that problem, you should be open about it and don't be afraid. I always been able to go to my family. They always been there for me, to my closest one, my loved one, my wife. I mean, not everybody had that luxury. There's people who have no family whatsoever in this business, and they go along on a daily basis by themselves. They might be afraid to say something. They might be afraid to crack that door. Just crack it. Don't be afraid. You need help? That's what we need. We need help, period. And if we can be honest about our thoughts, our feelings, it's I know it's a long process, but it makes it so much easier. Just being able to accept that I have a problem. Let me deal with this, because I have to put my mental and my physical strength out there. And this is not a joke. Once you step on that track, we don't have a remote control that we can rewind, pause. It is what it is. And then when you go home, you see what happens. You just never know. But be honest about it. Know and accept that you have a problem and deal with it in the best way that you can.
And I think that takes place in dropping the ego. The ego is what keeps us in being afraid or being fearful of what others might think or judge us. Just being real. And I think we'll all here say we're a safe place. If anybody watching, any riders or anybody in the horse community felt like they needed somebody to talk to, I think you could honestly reach out to anybody here, and we would be willing to listen. Tyler, let's jump to you. Same question. One thing that you think that would be really beneficial and you feel like, zero excuses why we couldn't have it in rooms across the board now in 2023.
I'm not really sure, to be honest. And Aubrey brought up the better health thing, and I've heard a lot of good things about that. I'm not a therapy person. I've never done it before. My girlfriend is very pro therapy. She's been through it a lot, and she's actually trying to figure out a way to start like a nonprofit to people that can't afford it or do whatever for that. So yeah, I mean, I guess maybe something like that would be very beneficial. And you brought up the chaplaincy. I'm guilty of it. I never really go see them or kind of consult with them about anything really. I'm more of the old school type of just kind of take it and kind of deal with myself. I talk to my family, like Willie was saying, and my girlfriend, and they're very helpful. But yeah, I'm not a big talker, to be honest. I kind of just take things just in stride and kind of go with it. But if there is any way to make the chaplaincy,
you think maybe just
maybe
educate?
have a therapist?
You think maybe them just
Yeah.
coming in every once in a while and saying, "Hey guys, how you doing? Anybody need anything? You good? Need to talk?" You think them maybe coming in and instead of just being there for you all to approach would help people a little more? For those guys,
100%. Yeah, yeah, for sure. We have like every night, chaplain comes in the Penn National and has like a prayer before the races that they always put over the announcing thing and welcome us all too if we can make it. But yeah, that'd be great to have somebody that comes to us instead of making us go to them. I think would probably be huge because we're all kind of quiet anyway.
right.
Especially a lot of guys that don't speak a lot of English. They don't really talk to anybody or have anybody to speak to in that sense. So I think that would be huge.
And I think that's key too. Willie's blessed with family. You're blessed with family to lean on, and there's just a lot of riders that have literally no one, right? So
Yep.
yeah. All right, Aubrey, your turn. What's one thing we could bring into the room right now that would elevate the way people think about just reaching out for help?
Well, to bring something into the room right now, besides like we were talking about with the chaplaincy, I really, really think that it's important that the Jockeys Guild gets on board with mental health and recognizing that there's a problem with mental health amongst the jockeys. It's a really tough field to be in. It's really hard to keep our mental state straight all of the time. And I don't know a jockey that hasn't at some point struggled. They may not say, yes, I was depressed, but I've seen them get to those points. And I literally haven't met one yet that I haven't seen hit that point. So, and I think that because we don't talk about it, the chaplaincies, they don't recognize it. It's not something that we just realize is going on amongst the jockeys. So the chaplaincy is there, and they're there for faith and religion, and they bring great positive energy to the room when they come in and do the prayers, and they talk about some scriptures and things like that, and that's helpful. But if somebody's struggling, they're not going to reach out to the chaplaincy. They're not going to go in there and talk to them. I think that we need to get the guild on board with providing, requiring that tracks provide some kind of therapy that's available anytime for the jockey.
Like just a check-in, like that every rider has to be checked in with at some point. Because even if they're not just sitting in depression, some of them are self-sabotaging in other ways, right? So I think check-in that's a great idea.
That's a great idea, because you're right. A lot of them, if they're not just suffering with depression, they're compensating some other way with alcohol or drugs or who knows what, So I think that we need help.
Yeah, I totally agree. Let's get to some comments, and then I'll kick it over to you, Sean. Let's see. I survive with my hotline. I get a private captive audience just for me. John De Silva. John says we need to educate trainers the benefits of having higher weights. Everyone wins with a higher scale of weights, no pressure to lose weight. We have Art. In the UK, the weights are much higher than here in North America. That would be very helpful for the jockeys. It's kind of funny that we're getting, the same comments here. Jamie Martinez, our other lovely host. I wish we could educate people to not be horrible jockey bashers. The constant rage against jockeys drives me crazy. I can't imagine being the victim of constant bullying like I see jocks go through. I myself witnessed some horrible things from a local rider here not too long ago, and he won his first race of the year, and a trainer was standing behind the winner's circle and threatened him and told him he'd pay his rider to get him dropped next time. Empty threats, but mad because he lost. But this is people's lives. Like, you've got trainers threatening, you've got social media threatening, and not all, okay? But I don't think the world that loves racing realizes how much hate you guys really do get. And it's a sad thing. We have another comment here. Don't reply to ignorant people on social media. They will always be there. They don't understand that horses don't run the same race. Ignore them. I agree. And then we have one from Eli Hess. I'm a Lutheran pastor, and I think the chaplain should be able to check on the jockeys. I mean, why not? Why not?
Yeah. So I had another subject, but while we're there, we're going to just do this quickly. Do you guys ever feel, because I feel like you guys should almost feel used in some way sometimes, because everybody's making money off you, but they don't want to be in your corner. Or for social media, like you said, Tyler, people don't come to you and say, hey, great rides, Tyler. They just say, hey, horrible rides. What do you guys feel on that?
I feel used all the time. Most tracks are, especially in the Mid-Atlantic, we work for free in the mornings. We don't get paid to gallop horses or work horses. And most trainers won't ride you if you don't go work for them. I experience it every day. The more horses I get on people, the more I ride. But there's a lot of barns I don't want to go into. So I just stick to people that take care of me and are somewhat loyal. But yeah, if we get beat on a horse that they don't think should get beat or whatever, we get fired right away, and then all of our work is down the drain. So I feel used all the time. It's kind of sad. When I was in California, it's a lot different. Their way of training and not using people to just gallop horses is a lot different out there. They don't even ask you to gallop horses ever. You just work horses and you ride what you work usually. So just depends where you're at, I guess, in certain places. But I know Tampa, I think, is the same way. They make you work a lot, and if you're not working, you're not riding. So
that's how Charlestown is too. It's really brutal.
Yeah.
I actually made a post on more about. I think you had commented a couple weeks ago about working tracks just to get a perspective across the board, and it's sad what some of you guys go through. It really is.
So it's also
it's most tracks.
It's also, if the horse wins, the horse was just the best. If you lose, it was you guys made a bad decision, and that's I don't 100%.
Yeah, you never get a good ride if you get beat.
Okay, Willie, your turn to answer Sean's question.
Ask it again, Sean. Sorry.
No, Julie keeps muting my. There we go. Do you ever feel? Okay, unmuted. Good. Do you ever feel used between, like I said, people always compliment the bad rides. They don't tell you when you did good rides. Trainers, same thing. All these people are making money off you, the tracks, betting sites, but they're not there to help you.
Well, I mean, yes, I do. I seen it. Well, just when you think you've seen it all. Like I said, when I was riding in Kentucky, about the insurance, or, on-track insurance, all of that stuff, we felt like we were worthless. You know what I mean? Like, we were worth only back then $100,000. Think about that. You know what I mean? For a minute. And then your sponsorships, we tried that for many years. We took it to court in Kentucky, and nope, every single time. And then you see all the athletes, every other sports, we're professional athletes. You see my face, my name, everything that's got my logo on it, it goes right on screen. that's called the social media rights that we have too. So, you know, for us to be that had to be in that position to fight, to try to fight the industry. There's too many elements in between. If it's a track that operates a casino, they don't want you to have any sponsor whatsoever. But then Churchill Downs back in the day, no casinos. They just didn't want you at all. They don't need that for them. They just, you know, the big corporations are, operate like that. So yes, we are very I don't know, very unappreciated a lot of times. But we have to go on with our job. We have to do what we do the best way we can. We signed up for this, and just try to be more educated about financial too, because it's a hard business. It looks like in a lot of ways it's not going to change much. So you have to deal with what you got, and we've seen it every day. You know, like I said it in the last show that we have. You don't have money for this and that, but all of a sudden you have a $3 billion grandstand. You have something, you know what I mean? And it blows your mind. Like, what about us? What about the guys on the backside? Because we cannot forget those people. We're not gonna get to the paddock and get on a horse unless that horse gets there. How do they get there? You got the hot walkers, extra riders, grooms. It's just that the whole industry has to come together.
And I think that, and I think we need to, you know, we've been talking about you guys, and I say you guys like the riders, but I think branching out the chaplaincy across the board on the backside is important. You know, why can't the chaplain walk and check on everybody in the morning? You know, the grooms, the hot walkers, they all matter. They all matter. And I guarantee you they don't have people checking on them often either, you know?
Some tracks do. Some tracks do that, like our chaplain Peter in at Prescott. He's super nice, very friendly. He's very active in the mornings. He gets on the speaker every morning, you know. And if you need anything, come to the SVP office, meet me. You need that. Even though if people are busy, we don't hear you, we can hear you. Maybe I'll stop by. But you put it out there.
Right.
And at least you feel like you're trying to do something. But like I say, again, it's up to you too to crack that door. You have to come up with yourself and say, listen, I'm going to go check you out this morning. I need to talk. I need to talk to somebody about whatever.
Right. Well, Eli comes in with a very good comment. I don't know of many other professions where you have to reprove yourself every day. That is so hard on you guys. That is very well said. That is very true. I watch my husband go through it every single day. It's like, you know, are they going to love him today or not? It totally ebbs and flows. Sean Nolan, I have never worked in horse racing directly, but if there was a committee in racing that dealt with jockeys' mental health, I would definitely start. So much respect for every jockey. And then Aubrey, I didn't forget about you over there. Let's hear your perspective on feeling used in the industry.
So I had the pleasure of going to the Northeast this summer and last summer, and to Tampa as well. And I was really disgusted with the way that business is handled there, as far as the using jockeys to gallop and putting them on the work list, like on the set list for the morning. You know, a trainer has a set list of horses that are going out at what time to gallop. And typically, the way it's supposed to be is that is your salary exercise riders are supposed to be getting on those horses. Those salary exercise riders are paid for those gallops, and they are also on the workman's comp. We are not on workman's comp for you, and we do not get a check from you. So I'm disgusted. I can't say it enough. I can't be harsh enough. Disgusted with the Northeast and the fact that they have let it get to that point. And I think the Jockeys Guild needs to step in there, because I wasn't around when they did it, but 20 years ago, the jockeys turned it around so that jockeys do not gallop. We go out and we work the horses that we're going to ride, and we get paid by riding those horses that we worked, and hopefully it pays off with a win. But we should absolutely not be going out there and galloping horses for these trainers. That is not our job. That's not what our muscles are made for or built for or what we train for. And if you want us to make weight, and I know I make weight, guys, I'm sorry, but if you want these guys to make weight, they can't be out there galloping horses, because that puts on muscle.
Amen. Amen, sister.
That's
Yeah.
all I have to say about that.
Well, I love it because you are my mind was kind of blown too. About that whole thing when I moved back north. I'd been gone for quite some time. I was just my eyes started to cross. I was like, wait, what is happening? But I mean, that has to play a mental toll on these guys in these circuits that are doing that, working their asses off in the morning, and they're really getting used. Some of them.
And Tyler said it right. You can go and get on a horse for this guy every single day for 2 months straight. And you go out there and ride the horse. Let's say something happened. He wasn't fit enough. He just wasn't in the right kind of race. He needs to be dropped. The horse doesn't run the way they want him to. You get taken off. You get your $75 jock mount, which we give 25 to 30% to our agent of and 10% to our valets. So we're getting 40% less of that $75. And all of that months of work, you have just lost.
Yep.
You get nothing for it.
Often. I see it so often, and it's mind blowing, and it's not right. And that thread that I mentioned earlier with Tyler, you can go back and read it. A lot of top riders, even, we have a Kentucky Stewart, Aaron Greider's on there talking about how no, unacceptable. You've got some really class people on there from back in the day that are like never. So it's we have an interesting comment here, Grandma Horse Racing, and Willie, I'm going to let you answer this one. Jockeys should unionize. Well, Willie, I'll let you kick that one off because if it was only so easy, right?
As far as she meant
the jockeys need to come together to get what they need.
Yeah, so that as well. You guys know, as we talked about the last show, from my learning experience, as when we have to deal with the insurance that collapsed throughout the Jockeys Guild, and all we have was this by the industry, and the judgment day came up, and they divided, and all of a sudden I felt alone, even though it was 14 of us left that got kicked out. I never felt embarrassed about it. I would do it all over again because to this day, and they know who they are, I can look at them and you remember that day you were sitting right next to me, and 2 days before we signed up a piece of paper, I'm with you. Either you're with me or you're not. That's the kind of person I am. Don't come up to me if you believe in something and you want to fight for it, but then the next day you're not the same person. Then you didn't believe in the first place.
So I think pulling off of that is you're basically saying you've tried it, and it is not riders, and especially these days, a lot of them are in positions where they feel like if they stand up and go against a trainer, maybe that's their only barn, that they're going to be sabotaged and have literally nothing, and that might be all they have. So
exactly,
and that's sad because doing the right thing and making positive changes nobody should be faulted for that. Nobody should be faulted for wanting a little more, right? Nobody.
Yeah, absolutely. And we shouldn't be thinking about as far as who makes what, you making this kind of money. Well, you can do that. You can afford it. Well, we show you guys back in when that happened that most of the ones that got kicked out, we were in the standings, not the other guys. We were fighting for you, and you left us out in the cold. I was out without a job, and every single day I would watch 1-2 of my horses win. It was hurtful, and now it wasn't about who's making the most money. I was fighting for you. Why you left me out in the cold, I don't know. But you have to stay united. You have to. This is what we talked about, and I'm going to continue to say it. You cannot break. You have to be together. Together we're stronger, day in and day out. We can get it. We can get it done.
I think that's the message that we really need to be screaming from the rooftops, to all of our riders, all of our colonies, is together is better. We need to come together. Absolutely. Sean, were you getting ready to say something? I saw you unmute.
No, I just accidentally unmuted. But I do have another topic, or if you have another one, you can go.
No, I just let's take a comment in here from Jamie. Seeing jocks work horses multiple times and ride them in bad spots and getting them fit and getting taken off for another rider to pick up the win makes me insane. Samesies. Let's see. Ross, he says New York does a great job of helping backside workers. Yeah. When we had Dana Saul on, she blew my mind about what they do. They have a daycare at Belmont. My mind was like, why can't we have those things everywhere? Just accessibility, even accessibility. Grandma horse racing. What would happen if jockeys strike? Well, I think that we learned with what Willie is saying is it's getting them to strike together and not splitting, because what happens is when, half goes one way and half goes the other, the guys who don't, are trying to stand up, they get kicked out, and then the guys are left to ride because they look at it like they're taking their money. It's not, it's a very small-minded mindset instead of looking at the big picture. Very temporary, but it's the reality.
Yeah, and unfortunately, that goes further than jockeys. Any full-time job, if you say, I'm going to walk out, follow me, I bet you less than half the people actually follow you, and then you're out of a job. So, unfortunately, that's just human nature, and everybody's afraid to go the wrong way. I guess it would be go the right way or wrong way, whichever way you're looking at it.
Shaking the status quo, they would say.
Yeah, exactly.
That.
So the other topic I was going to bring up is another big one. How riding affects your family life, because obviously you don't have a normal 9-to-5 job. So you guys want to talk?
Hold on, guys. I'm having technical.
I got it.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's really hard on family because it's we don't know our schedules typically until a week or two out. Especially if you have to go out of town or ride another track. You can't really plan anything. You can't plan vacations. You can't plan family gatherings or anything like that. Good examples. My sister lives down near Delaware Park, and we try to get together with, my dad and stepmom, once or twice a month if we can for dinner. And every time she texts me, oh, I got to ride Laurel like that day or whatever. So it's always something always comes up, and I can never get to see her unless it works out on a day I don't have to ride. But I don't have many vacations. I think I've had 2 maybe since I've started riding in 9 years. Maybe less than that. I don't know. I don't really remember. But it's very hard to plan. You can't really have a lot of family time, and except for after the races or your days off. So yeah, it's tough to really have downtime and time to enjoy yourself.
Julie, Aubrey's on mute. You're also on mute.
Oh, I
Sorry,
think I'm unmuted now.
I just got like a thing popped up and was like, you can't unmute because Beth muted. I don't know what's happening. Just sorry, it's Sunday, guys. I don't really turn on till Monday. Okay. Go ahead, Aubrey.
So the family it's really hard. I have 3 kids. They live in Idaho during the school year with their dad, and they come spend the holidays with me and the summers with me. It's a very demanding job. And like Tyler said, sometimes we don't know our schedule a lot. In many tracks, we don't even know our schedule until 3 days before, because they have, 3 or 4 day out entries. So planning where you're going to fly somewhere is very difficult. We don't have a lot of consecutive days off from race riding, but even when we do have a few days off, we have to be at work in the morning. And if we don't go to work, we feel guilty because we know that somebody else might work our horses, and we'll get pressure from our owners, our trainers, our owners that we ride for, our agents. And so it's very difficult to take time off to go spend time with our families. And I know I'm not alone in being a jockey that has my family spread out. So my kids are in Idaho. Now my fiance is in Tampa and I'm in Louisiana. So now I'm having to find a way to juggle between, 2 opposite ends of the country, to be able to feel like I have a whole family. And it can be really taxing emotionally and mentally to be away from them as well. And I don't have a solution for it.
Listen, life is tough sometimes. And that's really, I didn't know that you had 3 little ones a ways away. I just, I watch the highlight reel, right? I watch what Twitter your wins in Louisiana, and everything looks lovely for you and your engagement. But there you go, right? I'm judging something I don't know, had no idea. So I know that's got to be really tough. I'm a mom of 3 too, so I just can't imagine how you do that. I know that weighs on you. That's tough.
It's been a struggle. It was at first, it was a huge adjustment. It was really difficult for me and for the kids. They've adjusted really well to it. We have great communication. We talk every single day. They talk to Angel probably at least once a week, twice a week when, you know, since we've been away. When he's with me, he talks to them every day. But so it's become a lot better, and they've adjusted, and they're, you know, used to knowing that they're going to be here at certain times, you know, during their breaks and stuff like that. And they look forward to any time if I do get a chance to go home. They're always excited. The biggest unfortunate drawback to this whole thing is that my family actually kind of deep down looks forward to my injuries, because then I have time off.
Then they know they're getting a vacation. Well,
Yeah.
Willie, Jamie just commented, so perfect timing. When Willie is gone half the year, it's horrible for us and him. So how do you handle that when you leave
Well, I mean,
the babies and your wife?
for me, I'm a late blooming father, if you want to say it, right? So I'm trying not to miss much. I'm trying to enjoy as much as I can. But her and I work together well. It could be mayhem sometimes, but it's because, you know, we have 4. I went from 0 to 100 real quick. So we try to adapt and do the best that we can. That's one of the main reasons that I take off in the wintertime. You know, she works every other week, so I'm here by myself, you know, 1 week, and the next week she comes in, we'll do it together. So, but I have to say, during the pandemic, I was still writing here, Tampa, and I was helping Eddie Joe Zambrana as an agent. I want him to get him going. He's, you know, he's Mateo's godfather. He's like, you know, my brother. And I mean, I don't know how I did it, but I told Jamie, I came home one day, I'm like, I cannot do this. I'm going to kill myself, because financially and the stress, it was too much, because I, you know, of course, I already know how it is in Tampa here, how much you have to work, and you're not going to make that much money. You're just going to get by it. And it was not worth it. I was getting up at 5:30, dropping off at the babysitter, go to the track, come back, get 2 ready. I learned how to do ponytails, drop off 2 others at school, go back to the track, come back and change, go back to the jocks. It just suicidal. I couldn't do it. That's it. So I decided in the wintertime to stay here and not to miss much of Dan. Then she can bring him up in the summer to Prescott for about a month or so. And we managed to, you know, to balance it. It's you know, some days are better than others, but it's what you do. It's what you do when you love somebody and you love your family. And
you love the sport of racing, right?
And
you're lucky if you have a spouse that loves the sport of racing too, because if they don't, I don't know. Eli, as merely a spectator and fan, I never knew there was so much you all had to deal with. Mad props to you all. Yeah, I think that we should definitely be trying to do these roundtable talks, you know, more often. I think it's great that people get a chance to see you all as humans. And with that, we're almost at an hour, so I don't want to keep everybody too long, but I think we'll end it with some advice you would give to anybody coming in, whether it be a rider, a groom, on how to keep some mental clarity with what they're coming in up against. And the times are changing too with the social media and all the naysayers. Willie, I'm already on you, so go ahead. We'll start with you. Give some advice to the younger generation coming in. You know, it can be pretty rough.
Don't bring social media to your personal life so much. Leave it where it's at. You still have to go out there and do your job. You still have to stay focused. It could derail you so easy. And before you know, you're deep in the hole arguing with what you know, Jamie called strolls, or you guys. And I leave that battle to her. I don't beef with anybody on social media. You don't see me, you know what I mean? She knows it. I'll leave that to her, because she loves to beef it out for us and go out there and fight for us. I admire and appreciate that, but I don't have time for that. I have kids to take care, to raise. Don't bring all that bad energy at home, because you will bring it back to work, and it'll take a toll on you sooner or later.
Great advice. That's great advice. Tyler, let me get you on here and unmuted. Hold on. I think I've got this better under control now. Maybe not. Tyler, unmute yourself. Thank you.
Yeah.
Some advice that you would give to some youngins looking to come into the racetrack and how to keep them afloat mentally.
I'd have to agree with what Willie said. You have to keep work and I think home life separate. You can't, like, even social media also, you can't let it affect each other. They have to be separate. I believe it's hard to do, especially if you're down if your home life isn't great, it's hard to kind of do your job well, but you have to separate it. And work is work. When you're done, you leave it as it is and you go home and be happy with your family or whoever you have there with you. I think that's very, very important because you see a lot of guys kind of get down at home or something's going wrong at home and then they ride bad or they ride too aggressive or whatever, and they put themselves and you in bad spots. And also, I think I think kind of stay true to yourself and know your worth in a way. Trainers are very tough. They fire you. They would do whatever. I try not to let it affect me too much. I wouldn't say upset, but a little bit salty about, certain things. But I think you just have to keep moving and just keep working. If you don't work, you're not going to have any success. So I think just work and do your job best you can.
That's great advice. And value yourself. I love that because sometimes you may feel like nobody out there does, right?
100%.
Aubrey, we'll turn it to you, ma'am. Give us some advice, for youngsters coming into the industry.
Well, I, like many, many other jockeys, have fallen into getting angry with these social media trolls and have engaged in arguments and, let it turn ugly. And that's never good because it turns your energy negative and it hurts you and it makes you believe their words, even though you're defending yourself against them, and makes you believe what they say. And what I have found that works really well, 9 times out of 10, there have been 1 or 2 people on there that I just couldn't turn around. But I joke with these people. When they start bashing me, I just joke with them. And I'm like, oh, yeah, yep, I'm just a dumb blonde, and I come up with something stupid. And I've actually made several friends and made fans out of a few people that follow me on Facebook and Twitter by just messing with them back, but doing, you just got to be fun about it and not let whatever they say hit you in the heart. Because if you argue with them every single time, you're going to feel it. It's going to hurt you more than it's going to hurt them.
Well, you're giving them the attention that they want, and it kind of shows that you care. So they go right for the jugular. You're like, yes, I got her. She messaged me back.
Yes. And then also recognize that when somebody is on a keyboard, who knows where they are, people are much, much braver and will say much more horrible things when they are not face to face with you, because the humanity has been taken away. When they're looking at a screen, they're not talking to a person. They just don't recognize that they are speaking to a person. So if you can't joke with them, or if they're not someone that when you try joking with them, they don't back down, block them. Block them and forget about it.
Amen. Yes. If it takes away from your peace at all, block them and move on. Well, Sean, I think we're going to wrap things up here. I'd love to keep these lovely people all night. I could talk to them forever, but it's Sunday. So what you got to end it with?
Well, we did a lot of bashing on social media. I'll give social media credit, though. All 3 of these people, in some way or another, I have connected with on social media. So if it wasn't for social media, I wouldn't be able to meet these 3 lovely people that I appreciate taking the time and touching on such a sensitive subject. All 3 of these, Tyler Connor, Willie Martinez, and Aubrey Green, every time I've reached out, they've always answered the bell. So I always appreciate that. And they know that if they ever need anything from me, I will try to be there. Aubrey changed your number once, and I thought, man, I can't get a hold of Aubrey, but we're good now. But
I do want to say as well.
It wasn't because of you.
But I appreciate all 3 coming on and talking about such a sensitive subject, and hopefully we can bring more light to it. and we obviously know this is a world problem, not just a jockey problem, but we're talking about horse racing. So one thing I did find out, one of our viewers, his niece actually has a mentalhealthhappyhour.com. It's a podcast. So if people want something, even jockeys want to check something like that out, mentalhealthhappyhour.com
Nice.
podcast you guys like weekly. So
Cool. I'll check that out for sure. You'll have to shoot me over the link. So yeah, definitely. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining us on our first roundtable mental health talk. We'll definitely have more of these. I appreciate you all for showing up and taking it serious and just being vulnerable and sharing things that some people, wouldn't feel so comfortable sharing. So maybe the more we speak on it publicly with things like this, the more comfortable others will feel, like Willie said, to come forward and say, hey, I need to talk to somebody. So that's really all we're trying to do here is just get the word of mouth just moving. Let people feel more comfortable talking to each other. So thank you guys. And yeah, that's all I got.
Thanks, guys.
All right, guys. Good night. Sean and I will wrap things up here, but you three have a wonderful evening. Willie, Tyler, Aubrey, thank you all so much.
Thanks. Have a good one.
Thank you.
thank you.
All right, Sean, it's me and you. That was wonderful. I think that was a great kickoff to something new that we're trying to do here and bring some light and just some, I think it's great to give people an insight on that they're humans. Because like
absolutely.
you said about losing, the human connection goes out the window when they're typing on a keyboard or just always staring at the internet.
Yes. Rich has a saying for that. I don't know if it was Mike Tyson. Somebody said that, if you can say something and somebody's not going to hit you in the mouth, you can talk all day long. But if you say it in person, they'll knock you out. So, there's definitely something to that.
There was a time when this stuff didn't exist, So that was a question I should have asked. I should have asked, what was it? It had to feel a little different before social media. I should ask Willie that. He was the only one that could have gave us that aspect.
Yeah, I feel like we kind of talked about that the last time he was on last week, but maybe we didn't exactly that. But like I said, a good thing on social media is I've gotten to connect with all three of them because of social media. You get that initial introduction out of the way on social media. Then you go to the track and you kind of know each other already, and it's a little easier to talk. So that's the positive about it.
That's how I ended up here and connected with you and yes, everybody. So we can't fault it, but it does give some people do not handle it well. We'll just say that, but that's with anything.
Right. And, I've never dealt with the mental health aspect of it. Thankfully, I've been lucky with that. And maybe at some point in my life I will, but anybody that does deal with it, I definitely would want to help out the best I could. And, I say I say all the time about, I talk to jockeys and I try to say, hey, how are you? I don't just say, hey, can you come on the show at this time? No, I actually try to have conversation with them. But anybody out there, if you ever just want to talk, our inbox is always open. Obviously, we got lives too and stuff, so time may be an issue. But hey, if somebody needs help or whatever, we're going to do our best to help.
We can at least help share resources with you to get you the help that you may need. Yeah. Yeah,
no matter who you are. So there's that too. So that's all I got.
It's been a fun Sunday. I think
that was a fast hour.
It was a fast hour. Easy conversations go fast. I think that was lovely. So we are back to kick off Horse Center tomorrow. Do you want to tell people what we have in line for the week before we head out?
Yeah, so tomorrow night we'll be back with Luis Saez, who had a big weekend at Gulfstream. I mean, he has a big weekend every weekend at Gulfstream, it seems. And then Tuesday, trainer Kerry Braun. And then Wednesday, we have the X-Man, Xavier Perez.
It's going to be a fun week. I'm excited. And I'll be back with you. So, yeah, I'll see you tomorrow. And I look forward to more roundtable talks.
Absolutely.
All right.